Hi, it's Lauren and welcome back to my craft room. Today I have a video that was originally released on the Whimsy Stamps video channel. It is a Valentine's Day shaker card. I wanted to share it with you here on my channel if you're not yet subscribed to Whimsy, but I will have the link to the original video down below so you can hop over there and subscribe. I hope you enjoy this shaker card and have a wonderful day. Hi, it's Lauren and welcome to the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how I created this simple shaker card using some very cute heart items from the Whimsy Stamps store. First, I'm going to take this largest Wonky stitched rectangle and I am going to cut a piece of the new Heart to Heart paper pack, and I'm going to use the brand new Connected Hearts frame die and cut out a hole. I also used it on some white cardstock and some fun foam because we're going to use these pieces to create our shaker. I cut a piece of acetate to be slightly smaller than my largest rectangle here because it's going to be behind my pattern paper to create the front of my shaker. I'm using some strong sticky tape and I'm going around the edges of the paper and around the heart. I'm going to peel off all of that release paper and place my acetate paper behind my pattern paper. Now I am going to glue down the white heart on top of the acetate paper. I'm using a fine tip glue because this is a thinner piece of die cut paper, and I'm gluing this right inside that hole that I cut and gluing it straight to the acetate. I am going to take some of those little bits from the pattern paper and place them inside the openings of the white frames. I want it to look like my white frame is sitting on top of my pattern paper, but it's flush and will all be glued directly to the acetate. So now that I have all of those pieces in there, after I glue this last one in, I'm going to flip it over and work on putting on the foam. So I also die cut these pieces of foam with the same die, and I'm going to keep the little pieces in and I'm going to put this onto the back. This is going to just help me create my shaker to be just the hearts. I am making sure that none of the foam is peeking out of the window, and I had a little bit of glue, so I'm just using an X-Acto knife to help me scrape off that glue from the acetate. And because I'm going to be putting in lots of fun differently shaped shaker bits, I am going to do 2 layers. So I'm putting glue on this second layer and gluing it right on top of the first foam I glued to the acetate. So now that I have my shaker part of this card all set up, I need to put on foam on the rest of the pattern paper here to make sure that there is stability when I glue this to a backing piece of paper. So I glued some double up strips on the top, and I am doubling up some of these triangles and placing them in the bottom corners underneath the heart. I've cut a piece of pink cardstock to be the same size as my wonky stitch rectangle here, and I'm just going to add some texture by splattering on some different water-based mediums I have in a shimmer, silver, and pink, and I'm going to use my heat gun to dry those. I liked that there was white on the pattern paper and I felt that I needed it on this background paper as well, so I'm just using some white acrylic paint and spritzing some water since it's a water-based paint, and once I finally get the consistency I like, I'm going to splatter it onto this background as well. Now because this is paint and it will need some time to dry, I'm going to use my heat gun just to get it started, and then we're going to set it off camera and let it dry before working on it anymore. So the last final part of this card we need is a sentiment. I like the comic speech bubble dies. They're one of my favorite sentiment dies, and they also match this pattern paper. So I grabbed a couple that I liked, and I'm using these simple sentiment strip stamps to choose what I like. I did You're the Best and Hugs and Kisses, and I decided to actually use the longer speech bubble and Hugs and Kisses for this card. I'm using some black VersaFine because it gives you a nice crisp clean stamp on the first try, and I'm going to set that aside to dry since it is a pigment ink and needs just a little bit of time before I accidentally smear it. And now that my background is all dry, I did a sanity check and touched some of the white paint and using my heat gun again, but it looks good. I'm going to bring in my powder tool and make sure there's no stickiness on the inside of my shaker or on my background paper, and I am going to just fill this shaker up with all kinds of random goodies I have in my stash. I've got some caviar beads, some clay hearts, some sequins, and I'm filling this thing up. There is no reason for it to be empty when this is the main part of my card, and also because I doubled up in the foam, there's going to be plenty of room for everything to mix and shake. So now I'm going to put the glue onto my foam and apply the backing paper and make sure it is behind the pattern paper okay. I'm making sure there's a great seal. I'm pushing down and making sure everything is good before lifting it up and shaking it. And as you can see, it's super full, but that's the look I'm going for on this card, and I love it. I'm gluing down the Hugs and Kisses sentiment, and now I'm going to glue this whole shaker pattern paper piece to a white card base that is A2 size, folded at the top for a top fold card. I'm going to make sure that is sealed down nice, and I'm going to grab some of those sequins out again from my stash and apply just a few around the card. I'm doing 2 of every color. I have white, red, and pink in the bottom right hand corner as well as the top left hand corner ish, spreading it around just so it's appeasing to the eyes. And now let me clean up my mess here and we'll take a look at this shaker. I love all the different elements inside and that it is the main focus of the card. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you try making a shaker with this die yourself. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to this channel if you're new here. Don't forget we also have links below to our Facebook group, Pinterest, and Instagram. Thank you again for watching. Have a great day.